welcome to Prana Talk TV. I'm Shana Dean,
and this is Elitom El-Amin.
And today, today we're talking about how to become a light being, and what does that mean? So, Elitom, what would you like to start us off with today?
Oh man, this is a good one. Now, Dylan is in I'm going to use that word, new age movement. That's what we've been hearing, that word, light worker, light being. So this is kind of a word that's been being coined over the last 30 years, 40 years. And still people is bringing it up, and they really want to know what that means in detail, or how our perception sees it. Now, we are in an age of information. So I do want to say, since the movement, this metaphysical movement started, basically, we have increased also in our new concepts, because every generation is the same generation, but now we're really tweaking in even more because the external technology has went up. So if the external technology went up, and we're talking about spiritual sciences, the technology on the concepts on what we can work with have to also raise the bar. But there was a generation before us that they left us some good concepts, but talking to many of them who's still alive, they really didn't go to the plateau. It was just a new lingo of language. But now we're coming with things more concrete, because when I talk to people, now we want things that's going to work. Of course, we got opinions and beliefs, but we're putting that down now, because when we talk science, it does not care about beliefs and opinions. It's going to come with raw data. Did you transform? Did that work for you? And how did you do it? Tell us the method. Can we repeat it? Oh man, this gets good. So now we're narrowing it down now, because we as humans, by our nature, we are masters at transformation. We are, everybody is, masters at it. And I was just at a friend's house a couple of days ago, where when she answered the door, okay, I've met her once before, but then she said, wait a minute, I'm going to go get ready. And when she came back out the room, it didn't take long, I didn't even know who it was. She transformed right in front of my face just by putting on a new dress, just by flopping out the hair. I said, who is that person? What happened to the maid? But we laughed about it, but that shows how good we are at transforming ourselves on many different levels. So now you brought up that topic about a light being. How do you become a light being? What are we defining about it? And what do we mean by light? Oh, this is going to get good.
Right. I love this topic, because I so identify with my light being essence, more so than my human essence. And that's why I'm always saying we're not just Homo sapiens, we're Homo luminous. We're moving into this direction, becoming more and more connected with our light essence. And when I think of a light being, I think of our true essence, which is our true nature. And that's really love and compassion. And it is light. We're made of light. And light is love, and love is light, right? So it's all hand in hand, and it sounds a little woo-woo, but it's very true. When you really tune into yourself, there's so much love within there, you know, and there's so much light, and our atoms and our cells are made of light also. So not only is our spirit light, but our physical human body is also light. So that's what it is, being a light being, and how to really strengthen your light being essence in a way where it becomes more tangible. So you can increase the light.
I like how you said that, increase the light. And Jasmine, who's been in the game for like 40 years, one of her first books that's real popular is called Living on Light. And since we're talking about living on prana, breatharianism, this all goes hand in hand, but we're going to bring it down to earth now so people can really be more tangible with it and know what direction to head in. But I like how you said increasing our light. You came straight out and said it, that we're light beings. Now, Nikolai Tesla did say we should work with energy, frequency and vibration. That's what life is dealing with. And he didn't make it up. He got that from ancient knowledge. And the more we resurrect that ancient knowledge, of course we can boldly say in certain areas, these people were talking about frequencies. Everything's vibrating. Those some of the hermetic laws that was already out there before this civilization even came on the scene. So we got a lot of things going on in our favor. How we see frequencies, which is light. Now we can boldly say that all sounds is another form of light. The UV spectrum from a radio wave going to infrared wave, X-rays, all the way up to gamma rays are all different forms of light going at different propagation of speeds. So as we say this, and we got these physical bodies, we can boldly say they're vibrating strings of light. But to increase it, can we really do that? I was just working with someone, a young person here, and they said, I feel this feeling that you're talking about, this energy, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around it when I say, oh, that's like electricity, the same one to charge up your cell phone. She's trying to wrap her head around it. And it is the same form. Now we're different pieces of equipment, but let's take a time out for a minute and let's go into our windows of consumption. In other words, what does a light being eat or should start out with eating? Now, this is a good one.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, man.
And I think of light almost being synonymous with energy. So it's about increasing our energy, our prana, the Shakti, universal life force energy, whatever you want to call it, that cosmic force that's within us. You can strengthen that with the food you eat or the food you don't eat. And you can also diminish it. You can
absolutely
dim your light with certain foods, right? Or with certain thoughts, things like that.
And that was very important that you just brought that up. First, you said we can increase it. Then you said we could diminish it. So when we get people both sides of the spectrum, that's what makes it real. Because just a couple of days ago, I was talking to a group, and they was like, it sounds really incredible that a person could just feed off of energy. But when I brought up the term of an energy vampire, have you ever felt somebody who drained the energy from you? Everybody experienced that. They know somebody in their life right now. So now, so when we say we can nourish each other, we can, just like we can pull energy from each other. Here we go now.
Exactly.
And having that spectrum, if it was just like hot all the time, and we didn't know the other spectrum of cold, we won't have nothing to compare it with. So now when we start dealing with food, we should know now that there's certain foods, and this goes with everybody. Everybody has this window of consumption that they're dealing with. What foods that you can honestly say, man, when I dealt with those foods, I felt better. Now, this going beyond taste. We ain't talking about just because you like to eat something, you like to taste. Compared to some foods that put you to sleep, make you sleepy, make you lazy, and it takes you into a whole nother direction. We at least got to start out with something as simple as that, but everybody's dealing with that, and we know what that is. Exactly. And if we're talking about light beings, oh man, we want to get the highest energy possible so we can have a what? More fruitful life, a more energetic life. This is what we're talking about. Finding your space.
Happier life. I had a friend of mine just text me this morning saying she woke up feeling depressed and sad, right? And my initial response was, well, what did you eat last night? What are you eating? Because regardless of the situation going on around you, and right now there's fires in the West Coast, and there's other things going on in the world that can really bring you down. But if your diet is a certain way, really clean, or if you are becoming more and more chronic, where you're able to eat less and less food, regardless of the situation around you, you can still wake up happy, optimistic, So the question is, what are you eating and how is it making you feel? If you're not feeling, like you said, energized, but you're also not feeling happy,
Right.
take a look at the diet first.
And, and just what you're saying, I'm glad how you said that. You were straight to the point. What did you eat? And I was just talking to some yoga groups, and this yoga teacher said here in India, she constantly come at her students with that question. What did you eat? Right, let's get straight to the point. Because now we as humanity, we do know you are what you eat. We can do it on a physical level, the physical body. But now they're coming out with more stuff, and it's surprising we got to wait till somebody in a white coat to tell you this.
Right.
But yes, the foods you eat does mess with your thinking, does mess with your mood, does mess with your emotions, and we got to really start putting this together now. So that's why even on a vegan revolution, they're talking about that being that you just consumed. How was his life? How was his treatment? That affects your thoughts. It brings more fear to the person. And I seen this coming directly one time. I had this space that I rented out for different groups. And every time a group came in, it was a nice group of people, but they were unconscious on their eating habits. That group had more arguments in it than a group that was more conscious of their eating habits. So I saw this directly, dealing with people. So it does have a big contrast on your mood, your thoughts. And if we're talking about being a light being, raising our frequency and our vibration, these foods again are very important. Now, we're hitting this before we even get into the more subtle forces.
Right. And I'm so happy that you mentioned frequency and vibration, because that's one thing we didn't mention when we were talking about being a light being. A light being is having a much higher frequency, a much higher vibration. That's really key here.
Mm-hmm.
And a big part of this is diet. So when I was eating cooked vegan food, even though vegan foods are good for you, they're good for the planet, there's a huge difference between eating cooked vegan foods and eating raw vegan foods. There's a
big difference.
Big difference. It will increase your frequency. It actually helps you to become more intuitive, more psychic. People who have gone raw can testify to this. So not only switching over to raw diet, but what percentage raw are you? Are you 80%? Are you 90%? I will tell you from personal experience and from working with a lot of different clients that when you can make the switch to 100% raw, that is like night and day. There is a difference between 99% raw, or let's say 95% raw, and 100%. You're in a whole different stratosphere at that point.
Right.
Really up-leveled your frequency. Now, if you
big time.
Yeah, big time. And then from there, if you can start reducing the fat intake and increasing the fruit and greens, that will also up-level your energy.
and see, I'm glad you're bringing this up, because you came straight from your personal experience. I tell people all the time, you are the scientist of your life. Go see for yourself and start playing with it. That's what I did. When I started out my journey in life dealing with health, I started exploring to be my own personal scientist, to say, let me go see how I feel. Now, it's sad to say that when you go on a certain level of cultivating yourself, the way that you can really feel the frequency or a vibration is when you come out of it. Yeah. You know, when you feel like you went backwards. For some reason, when we exhaust the energy, that's when we can feel like, whoa, I was doing better when I was just doing that. Because sometimes we forget about it, where we came from, until you go backwards. But that's another good thing on your exploration. And again, like you said, most people that I met who gave themselves a time out, a period of time to remember that time and say, I felt better when I was doing that, whether they maintained it or not. Now, maintaining is a whole nother ball game, but at least you know now you got into your awareness, and you can always pick up the mantle again. See, there's a thing that you got to outgrow certain experiences also, and that's how you should start looking at it. It's just an experience. It's not like you got to stay stuck there and you're supposed to be there. You don't need to eat bacon every day for the rest of your life. That's just the truth of the matter.
You don't need to eat
Uh,
anything every day for the rest of your life.
exactly.
You don't even have to eat every day
Here we go.
at all.
Now, right.
I mean, anybody
Now,
right now can just stop eating for one day or a half a
mm-hmm,
day. You know, just skip a meal, skip 2 meals, see if you can go a whole day. If you can't go a whole day, it means you have a lot of toxicity in your body. So if you want to know
absolutely.
how clean you are physically, see how long you can go without eating. Is it just a couple of hours? Is it a whole day? Is it 2 days? The cleaner you are, the longer you can go without food and feel good. So the whole idea is to go longer and longer and
Absolutely.
longer.
Now,
Length.
look at this one. We talk about, right. And listen at this now when we talk about living on light and we being light beings. Now, when we say that word light, we immediately think of visible light. So immediately people go to the sun and all this other good stuff. But we are living in light that you cannot see. Earlier, I said these different things in the UV spectrum, like, you know, the UV ray, the infrared rays. There's frequencies you cannot see with your physical eyes. You can't even hear it, but you're living in it. Your body knows it's there, but you cannot feel the sensation yet. And actually, I'm gonna bring it down to earth to you. Oh man, this is getting good. When we talk about the breathtaking journey, this is where the great amazement is going to come in at. You're living in this system, and it's really don't have nothing to do about your sensitivity. There's something that's placed into us, which we call our ego, but the ego is a program. It's all about the programming. Let me say that again. You are like a bio machine with a program inside of you. And the way that program is functioning, the way your program is going to determine how you can receive the light. This is why this information that we're given is so important. I get calls every day when people are listening to this new information over and over again to change the programming inside of them. Because I know sensitive people out there, on, you know, on one level, but that don't have nothing to do with it boldly because they cannot shift over on what we're talking about. They don't have that other program. It's all about the programming to start receiving the higher subtle light. Wow. Now when we deal with this light, I said it's not all about visible light. We're living in invisible light. You can't see it and you can't grasp it. But this is what the ancients was called saying, it's the spiritual realm. And what we're trying to do with the breath theory and knowledge is try to give you a direct experience with the upper reality. It's not a belief, it's not an idea. You're going to have a direct experience through a feeling state. You must feel the creator.
Exactly. Exactly. Which is why you should choose your food based on how it makes you feel. Not how it makes you feel in your mouth, right? Because you're going to feel a lot of pleasure if you eat something that you really like. But how does it feel in your body after you've ingested it? Does it make you feel really strung out and wired because you just had a cookie or something? Or does it make you feel really low? Or does it make you feel clean and bright? Are you able to meditate and have a high quality meditation after, right? Or is your mind going? What are you feeling
Absolutely.
after you eat? So pay really close attention to how you feel after every single little thing that you drink and eat. And how do you feel when you don't eat, when you're in the fasting state, when you're in a high pranic state? So all of this is a feeling, because like Elitom is saying, the more you increase in your vibration and your frequency, and the more you hook into what I call the cosmic light, it's like this beautiful cosmic life force energy, the more you can tune yourself to this and clear your vessel. Think of yourself as an instrument, like a flute. That's the way I like to think of it. On the flute, beautiful cosmic divine energy flows through. And if you have all kinds of kinks and blocks and your stomach's full and your blood is thick from the food that you're eating, you're blocking up all that energy. Now,
Right.
this also reminds me of earthing and how important earthing is. I just
Mm-hmm.
recently watched the documentary Earthing, and if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest you check it out. I will put a link to it in the comment section below this. But studies are now shown, peer-reviewed data, peer-reviewed scientific studies been put into this, where if you place your feet on the ground, if you're just connected to Mother Earth, it will actually clean up your blood and get your blood flowing, and it reduces
Right.
inflammation. Right there, you become a conduit for this beautiful cosmic energy. So imagine if you clean up your diet, you really lighten up your diet, and your earthing. Those are two things right
Mm-hmm.
there you can do to increase your your light beingness.
Oh, this is awesome. And I'm glad you brought that up, because let's look at a house, for instance, that's wired for electricity. Now, we know the male end and the female end must come together for the light to come on. You're dealing with your socket to your house, so you put the female end and the male end together, and that's how we do the language. So a lot of people got that part. Even when we always talking spirituality, we always talk about the male and female coming together. But a lot of people don't talk about the grounding. This is what we're talking about. So the key to a house is more than just a male and a female. The house also, any electrician will tell you this, there's a grounding that's taking place, for you can get better quality connections with energy as needed. So again, making that grounding to the earth, because we were born here in the earth. You're connected to the earth. We call this the earth body, basically. You got the what? The bones and stuff. That's the earth part of it. You got the elements of the air you're breathing. You got the inside of you. You got the water all together. So to keep it flowing, you got the what? Male energy, the female energy, but the grounding will give you more overall health, more overall power. You said the keywords, to be a better conduit of energy. Listen at that. That's what we are. You're a conduit of energy. So I'm glad how you hit that on the food. All right. Now we're talking about dealing with that. And I was talking about the programming. They go hand in hand, because your thoughts are so powerful. It is dictating all the cells in the body. Now, this is where it gets key. Shana, you said something real key about when you put these foods in your body, how you feel. Now, what you got to be careful of is judging that what you're putting in your body as the new law. Oh, man.
That's,
This is where a lot of nutritionists get caught at.
yeah.
And it causes another harm, especially if you want to move forward to go into your ultimate light being awareness.
You know, this
When
just
you make it a
reminded me
law.
of something. I just saw some advertisement, I don't remember where, somewhere on social media, and I can't remember exactly what the vitamin is, but there's a new vitamin that's been discovered. It's like B14 or something, and they were advertising apricot seeds or something. And I thought, look at this, they invented a new vitamin so we can buy a new product. So now
Right.
we can all like be all over
Right.
that, right? So it's like,
Oh, my God.
I mean, maybe it's a real
Oh,
thing, I don't know, but the fact is what we believe makes such a huge difference. I have one of my clients who takes air
right.
pills. She just says, this is a pill, it's made of air, and I'm going to take it, and that's going to be my food. It's going to be my weight loss pill, it's going to be my depression
Mm-hmm.
pill, whatever it is I need it for. I'm just going to
Right.
there, I just
Oh, my
my
gosh.
pill, and bam, when she does that, she notices a huge difference. You can create your own placebo.
Right. Oh, my gosh. B14, you had me laughing. Oh,
I think that's what it is, something like that. But this is what I thought. Oh my gosh, something new for us all to run out and buy, you know?
yep. Now we'd have found it. That's basically what they're saying. Look, y'all, we'd have found it for your longevity. All right. now, now looking at this, you started off this thing by talking about, and it sounded, blah, 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 when you was talking about love, joy, peace, and stuff like that. But those are frequencies and vibrations of a state of consciousness.
They're also
Those,
food.
yep. And those feel different than anger,
Oh, yeah.
pain. Those are two different things. We should know this now when you see a person in that state of mind. Wow, this person feels all heavy compared to this person feeling light. Those are food, those are nourishment, those are states of consciousness. So now this is what we want to do. We want to develop, they use that word soul and they use it loosely, but here we go now. Let's take this consciousness that all of us have access to. We're using it, we're seeing it, we're looking at this broadcast. This is what we're using consciousness. So now you want to take this consciousness and start developing that new program inside you, a feeling state. You want to start developing and cultivating that happiness, that love, that joy. You do want to start cultivating it so it can attract those type of frequencies to you. Now, what does that mean? When two friends meet, well, two people meet, what's going to determine is they're going to become close friends if they like the same thing. It has to be a quality that both of them like. Like if one person likes sports, and they know all the sports players, but the other person hates sports, and these two people met, more than likely they're not going to become real good friends. Compared to if this person likes sports and this person likes sports, they're going to have a whole nother conversation, especially if they like the same team. Listen at this now. They're going to become really good friends. They'll be going seeing the games with each other. This is what's going to happen. So it's that same quality when we deal with these different frequencies in the spectrum of these thoughts, and you start cultivating inside of you, y'all are going to become real good friends. Because the way the spiritual realm works, it's not mechanical. It's not limited by time or space. It works through feeling states.
Yes.
You have to bring a feeling.
Yes, I love this. I love what you're saying. It's all about resonance. It's all about resonance. So if you're in, there's so much I want to say here. So if you can maintain a happy state of being, and this can be supported by the diet that you choose, right? So your diet can support a happy state of being. If you can maintain a happy state of being, then you can more easily connect with those cosmic light forces, because that is pure happiness and bliss. That's what that is. When you're in higher states of consciousness and you're out of this three-dimensional 3D reality and you're in 4D and 5D with your meditations and playing more in these higher cosmic, higher conscious realities and realms, there is no hardship. There is no pain and suffering. It's just all light and love. Literally, it's just all love and love.
Literally.
It really is. So the question is, how are you going to maintain your body so you can have that high spirit, that high, beautiful attitude and personality that's also light? Because when you're in that space, then you can more easily resonate with the natural cosmic forces. So it becomes a natural flow. So you are creating a physical body and a physical mind that is in alignment with your natural light being essence, which is the cosmic.
There you go. Now, this is the key right here. Now, listen at this, because since we're zeroed it all in on how you leave food all together to go even more into these forces that we're talking about, that we said is nourishment. This is key. So you're dealing with these foods, right? That's giving you a higher vibration. But don't judge the food as being law. Now, I said that because the reason being, as soon as you feel that there's something in this external world that's going to fulfill you, then you just cut off the need for the higher forces to come directly or more into the vessel, because you already found what's going to make you happy. Listen at this.
Absolutely.
So there's that block.
And you created an attachment.
You created an attachment.
And the whole point of yoga and meditation is to, in any kind of spiritual development, is letting go of the attachment, right? So
letting go.
I need that piece of fruit, I need this vitamin, then all of a sudden you are now attached to it, and you are limited by that attachment.
Exactly. And so the spirit realm in this mind, you don't have a need. You need a need for it to come to that vessel. If you don't have a need and you're satisfied, it won't come to that vessel, not in its fullness. So you're on a path. That's why we say this is a path until you learn and figure it out. To soon give up that need. See, when you're exhausted and there's a need, then by the higher subtle forces, just who we are, it's going to come fulfill that need. Because in its mind, it has a creature that is going to fulfill us with total delight. This is your life purpose.
Yeah,
total delight. But the need have to be there. As long as you feel you have a need that something's going to make you complete in this world, you're not going to be fulfilled with total delight. You're the one holding it,
right.
Not the universe.
This is one reason why the more breatharian you become, the more pranic you become, all of your physical hungers go away, even your hunger for spirituality.
Right.
As you start really feeling in resonance with that which is everything, which is your higher consciousness, and you don't have that desire, that yearning, that begging of
right.
God to come within you, because you already feel one with it.
Right. Because your total need now is delight, and that's it. You know that that's going to make you fulfilled, and that's it. And that's what you're growing into. But as long as you have a need for anything physical in this world, it holds delight and you're attached.
Exactly. And this is why,
oh my gosh,
you also brought up earlier about the ego. So the ego is huge with thinking it has all these needs, and well, it does have all these needs. So it's about kind of reducing that ego a little bit and realizing, well, do I need everything I think I need? You know, a lot of this is programming and meditation, because the more you meditate, the more you get centered. And how do you increase your meditations and make them more productive? Eating less and eating lighter. So it all goes
absolutely.
Man, you're eating less and lighter, you're meditating more, you're diminishing and cooling that ego, you're letting go of attachments, you're becoming more and more pranic. Your mind is telling you, hey, I don't need that, I don't need this, I'm only needing the light, I'm only needing this cosmic energy. And it's really hard to do that if you can't feel the energy, because it's just a concept. But the lighter you eat, you begin to start feeling it. And once you start feeling it, that's the driving force.
That's the driving force. Oh man, this is good. I'm hoping this is helping somebody. We're hitting it right on the head right now. I mean, we're it's the need. See, because that ego is basically saying, and all of us have it in us, we were born with it. It's saying, what's in it for me? That's basically what it's saying. So that's why it's seeking things at the lower nature of survival. I need this to make me complete. And that's why it can never be complete. Even when it achieved what it thought it achieved, it's still empty. And even when it goes to the halls of knowledge, now that's a big one, a huge one. So that's where a person usually go into some type of religious concept. They go into the sciences. And all of those do not give them the answer to life. Those are all working on a mechanical level, because we are on a mechanical level being in the dense physical realm. When you deal with upper reality that goes beyond time and space, that has the power to nourish you, you must even get exhausted when you cannot find your answers from no other source. And that's where you're going to have a direct filling state, where upper reality that will, and its main job is to fulfill you with total delight. But that's where you became exhausted, what this world could give you. Oh, man.
Right. And I do suggest, and I don't even think I have to suggest this, because I think it comes natural on the pranic path, is you are going to go up and down and up and down. And that's a really nice way of testing yourself. So instead of getting down on yourself for the downswing, right, instead look at it like, oh, how can I observe this? What can I learn from this? And you might realize, wow, when I'm in the downswing, and when I say the downswing, you might be having some challenging emotions you're working through, you might be eating something heavier. Then that's really a learning opportunity, because you get to learn the difference, like you said earlier in this talk. Once you go down, you realize, whoa, I was really running a high vibe light before.
Mm-hmm.
And you can really see the difference, and it will motivate you to get back on. As soon as you clean up your
What?
diet, you clean up your thoughts, you jump right
Right.
back on where you started. So you haven't lost anything, and that's really important to know. You don't lose
A-
ever.
Absolutely. And when you're dealing with the light that's going through us and all around us, it knows us better than we do. Now, when you're dealing with your desires, these desires in these different states, you have to go through them to burn them up. That's why when we say you're going through these ups and downs, the down period was created by the light so that you can see yourself, so it can be revealed. It ain't about beating up on yourself. No, the light puts you through that. So it can clean you up so you can see yourself, so you can burn up those desires. Because, like some people will say to me, now listen at this, and I'm traveling around the world and I'm with a lot of people from very high things materialistically for some who don't have none at all. And some people will say, if there's people starving on the planet, won't you take the breath, theory, and knowledge there? But they dealing with the same thing what everybody else is. Everybody has the ego, everybody has the desire. And when you deal with a person who is really poor and don't have money, they have a desire that's burning to be like the person that has money. So they still got in their mind that if I achieve that in this world, it's going to make me complete. So the spiritual realm is not answering them either. It ain't going to feed them.
I call that poverty.
Till you go through these, right.
Poverty
It's
consciousness.
till you,
Yeah.
right. It's till you burn up those desires to where you have a straight need only for the spiritual realm. That's when it start feeding you. That's when it start nourishing you. But it will take you through that. And each and every person on the planet has to go through those stages.
Right. So it's
Oh
about
man.
being a limitless thinker. Anytime you think anything that limits you, from taking a vitamin to thinking you can't have a better job or whatever it is, just catch yourself and be like, nope, I'm unlimited. I can do anything. It all starts here.
It all starts here.
It really does. And what you were saying, I'm going to piggyback on that, going back to the food, because I know a lot of people are on the breatharian journey and they're having a journey, right? There's a lot
Yeah.
of different experiences that go along with this. So you might feel that you're really pranic and you're at top of your game with your eating, your meditation, and everything else that you're doing. And all of a sudden you have like these cravings, or something social will happen and you'll start eating. And a lot of people have asked me, well, what do I do? Do I immediately stop? Or, they want to kind of judge themselves as what they want to do. And I just
Mm-hmm.
enjoy it and just eat whatever you want. And people
Right,
are
right.
always really surprised by that answer. But the fact is, eat it until you don't want to eat it anymore. And I promise you that will just happen. Just let it kind of
Mm-hmm.
go naturally and it will burn out of your system. And it won't take long before you realize, I don't really want to eat this anymore, because you've had the experience of being lighter, of being higher vibration, and now you're having an emotional experience of eating, right? Because that's usually what it is. It's emotional, it's habitual, it's all these other reasons.
Right.
It doesn't have anything to do with your light beingness, because your true light being doesn't need food. So
Right.
it's the physical, mental, emotional component part of you that's wanting all of this, and you'll burn through that really fast. So just allow
Really
yourself to
fast.
burn through it, and then you'll go back to where you are, and you're in a higher level because you've burned through this. You've pigged out for the last month or whatever it is, and you're like, I don't really want to do that anymore, and then you go back. Right?
Right.
So instead of forcing a stop, sometimes we kind of do, we need to be conscious, but it's having the intuition of knowing when to force stop and when to just let it burn through the system. And the
Mm-hmm.
more you follow this path, your intuition becomes really, really clear, and you'll become more and more in tune with your body. And you'll know when you
Right.
make the switch, and physically you don't need to be doing all this food that you're doing. And then you realize, okay, well, now I'm just doing it because it's a habit. When it's become just a habit, then you can do the force stop. But if it's something else,
Mm-hmm.
you might want to burn it through. So just having the discernment, I guess I should say. Knowing.
Absolutely. And there's a saying that says, like, the way people treat us is like, how should I say? It's a reflection of ourselves. We go through all of this. But there was a person who was just upset about what somebody said to him. And it was kind of out of the way. But I immediately noticed that the reason why that person said that to him, because the person was incomplete. I know the problems they was going through, and they lashed out at the other person because they were incomplete. Now listen at that. They were a broken spirit, in other words. So that's one level when you're dealing with somebody external from you. That person's usually broken in order to lash out somebody else to see them get hurt. Or I want you to feel like me. Now that's one level. So usually when we're on this path too, and it seems like we're indulging or we're abusing our makeup, there's one level in your mind saying, I know better this, I'm abusing myself, but why am I doing this? It's because we're still incomplete still. And that's okay. We're coming from a fragmented spirit to begin with, dealing with the desires. And there's a whole system of different schools of thought that's, they got the mechanics on what's taking place on that fulfilling yourself, on being whole. But that comes with the territory as you're going through those stages so you can learn yourself more. See, it's sort of like when you're lifting weights or something. It's one thing to get in there and you're pumping up, but the real growth takes place in the off when you're not doing it, when you're resting, you're letting everything come together. So it's sort of like when you're on this habit of food, which is very, very powerful. And keep in mind that food is energy, it's just at the lower source of energy. And that shows right there you're a light being. That's why we like eating so much. You're chasing light.
We like
It's
energy.
just,
That's why
you like energy.
everybody's addicted to coffee, because it gives you energy.
Coffee, sugars,
Right.
salts, that shows you. And we got this obesity problem happening all over the planet. Now, that's nothing to laugh at nobody. You are an energy being. It's easy access to get it. You will overdo it if you don't get this knowledge and learn how to put that energy in control. It's just at such a dense state, it causes a lot of damage when it's abused to our physical makeup, our mental, our emotional.
Yeah.
So we're doing a halt now. We're making this shift over.
So here's the difference between food and being chronic. So food can give you energy, but if you eat too much food, it will make you sluggish and gain weight.
Mm-hmm.
If you're chronic, the more chronic you become, which means the more energy you bring in, the more you strengthen your light beingness, the more universal life force energy you flowing in you, it gives you more and more and more and more and more energy until you become high.
Right, right.
You're high as a kite with total bliss. So it's a complete opposite. So when it comes to the pranic realms, you can have as much as you want and it increases all the time. Whereas when you're eating
All the
food,
time.
you have to eat a little bit. Otherwise, you're going to start feeling sluggish. So that right there,
Right.
that the body is not designed to handle the amount of food that we are eating, that most people are eating.
Absolutely.
You're designed to eat
Now,
less.
yep.
Less.
And we said something good earlier about these two friends that got together and they sharing the same things in common. So when you're developing that inward person in yourself, this new person you're creating, it need to be cultivated to attract a higher light that's always on that frequency. Not only y'all become good friends, y'all will become one and the same.
Oh yeah,
This is
absolutely. Like you have a friend, I'm sure that you're so close with, you feel like brothers, right? I have friends
right.
that feel like we are just sisters because we are becoming unified.
Unified. You're one and the same thing, dealing with these qualities.
So
Because remember what we said about that. Mm-hmm.
I was just saying,
We said,
unify yourself with light.
right.
Right.
Oh man, this is where it gets good. So, and how we were saying that, and it goes through time and space. So it's in this vessel now. You have cultivated something in you, which many calls the soul or whatever. We could go all day long on that. That's a lesson in itself. But you got that quality in you, where that you're one and the same. There's no difference. You're basically the creative force, the higher vibration walking this plane. Wow.
Absolutely. And we think of this, food does not keep us alive. It does
No, it
not
don't.
keep us alive. You cannot take a dead person and give it food and expect it to wake up and have life. No. The only thing that keeps us alive is this cosmic light that we're talking about. That is
Here we go.
it. That is our life force. So
Ooh,
really embrace that.
now that gets good. Now look at this. But we said the plan of creation is for it to fill the creature, which is us, of total delight. So when we first start getting into these feeling states, you're only going to receive a little at a time. And you just said something about these ups and downs because we're blocking the light. Nobody's arguing that. You're not ready yet. But you're still on a path a little at a time till you grow into it, till you recognize this love. That's what it is love. Oh, man.
Yes. And I love what you said, how you say a little at a time, because we're not saying just stop eating right now.
No.
You could lose your life if you do that, because like I said earlier, the more toxic you are, the less period of time you can go without food. So this is a, you know, it's multi-levels, multi-layers here. You have to cleanse the body through your fasting. You have to work on the mind programming. You have to really accept the fact that you don't need the food and the vitamins and everything they say that you need. So really take that in. So when I say that, I'm saying that for your brain. But
Oh,
your
absolutely.
body needs to get the memo, like you like to say. Your body needs to get the memo. You have to train the body, train the mind for that. None of this is done overnight, and don't ever force yourself. Don't fast so hard and so long that you feel weak and that you just feel sick. Don't do that to yourself. Be gentle, be loving, because guess what? The light is loving. The light is
Mm-hmm.
bliss. If you're not feeling love and bliss, then you are not resonating with that light. So hold that in your mind and in your thoughts as you go along this process, and do everything you can to align yourself with your bliss. That right there is
Exactly. And if we're sitting up here experiencing this consciousness we have, now, right now, there's many schools of thought that even have trouble defining it. But we can look at our consciousness and say it's different than the rest of the animals. Now, it's hard for us to realize that this consciousness, that there could be a consciousness higher than us. That's why we do got this concept called God. But we're not arguing about that. But when we're talking about you can't force this, this isn't a force. You're not going to force it. Every step of the way, you're being called into this. That's why this message is here now.
yes.
You're under a plan and you're being pulled and guided to this. There's nothing you can do really that's going to make you be this. That's not what's going to happen.
I love it. I love that you say that, because this is our true nature. It's absolutely correct what you're saying. Everything that you put in your body, from the food to the negative thoughts to whatever it is that's weighing you down, you are just simply blocking yourself from the light, from exactly what you're saying. This is our natural calling. We are being called to this. So if you take all of
Absolutely.
those blocks, those roadblocks, and all the things that are keeping you from your light, you just whoop, you just naturally go there, because that is who and what you actually are. You are that
Exactly.
spark of God. That is what you are.
That is what you are.
Take the blocks
And
away.
this is why the sciences of this world, it gives you answers on the mechanical level, and that's all it can do, dealing with your five senses. But when you're dealing with these other forces out here, it's not going to be measured like that. We're all in this together. Now listen at this. You're going to come willingly or unwillingly. In other words, this world that we're talking about where everybody's going into the light is going to take place. But there's a place of pain where a person is being dragged along, and there's events is set up in your life that's going to make you go that way anyway. But that's what we call a path of pain, where one don't want to see it, but it's going to take place anyway. And then we got the path where they call the law. That's where the person start being conscious, start understanding what's taking place. Life is not here to beat up on you at all. You're being guided in the right place. So you're going to start waking up and start looking at your situation you're in. There's a consciousness to have you in that place right there, right now, for your growth. That's all it's looking for, because its main goal is to fulfill the creature with total delight. This is awesome.
Yes. And part of this, oh my gosh, there's so many things I want to say now. So part of this is really paying attention to the people and the situations around you, because that is a direct reflection of you. And we can say this over and over again, but it is so true.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you even mentioned something about this earlier, Elitom, when you were talking about, oh, I don't remember exactly what you said, but you said somebody might have a negative experience. and that could be what they're missing. Well, it's also a reflection of you, because that person
Mm-hmm.
is you. So I'll give a little example. A couple days ago, I'm in California. We have the fires. The sky was orange all day long, and it was so dark. All the street lights stayed on. It was really remarkable. So it was a whole day that felt like night, and it made me feel uncomfortable because I'm such a sun girl. And my discomfort actually started affecting my cat, Mitz.
Mm-hmm.
He started getting agitated, and I remember thinking, oh, he's agitated, like he looks like he just wants to pounce on me. you know and I realized right there, oh, my energy is negatively affecting the cat's energy, and now the cat wants to attack me. You see how that
Right.
is? That happens in your life. So when you're running a certain energy, other people are going to start lashing out at you. Other things are going to happen in your life. You're creating
Mm-hmm.
this energy force, because you cannot deny that you are an energy being. You are electricity, and the emotions, the thoughts, the food that you eat creates
Right.
your energy field, and it emanates from you. And
Absolutely.
that's going back to you are what you eat, right? It's true, because it all has
Mm-hmm.
frequency. So are people attacking you? Take a look at yourself. Take a look
Exactly.
at how clear you are. As soon as, oh, I caught that, then it's like, okay, everything's
Mm-hmm.
temporary. The sky will clear. I don't have to be running this agitated energy, right? I can create love and
Right.
harmony. And as soon as I made that shift, my cat came right up and curled with me, and he was really happy.
Exactly. And I'm glad how you said that too, when we brought up that incident about the other person that's around you. And that person who, when they launched out on them like that, we was talking about that, they also looked at how they triggered it. It's all one and the same. We're all triggering each other. So it isn't that the negative people are just jumping on you. Take a look at yourself or where you triggered it at.
Yeah,
Wow.
take a look at the energy. Take a look at your light beingness. How light are you right now?
Right, right.
Because what happens is the light is really our natural state of being. So when we are, let's say, for example, I was feeling really uncomfortable. So that's a state of uncomfort, which is not harmonious with my natural state of being. So the energy I was putting off was kind of like a distorted, warped energy, like it felt really unnatural. And the cat was responding to that. Now, the more
Mm-hmm.
people around the world who become more harmonious with nature, with Mother Earth, who ground, who do the earthing, who eat lighter, who do the meditations, all of this brings you in natural harmony with the planet. The more people who shift and change, guess what? It shifts and changes the planet. We may not
Mm-hmm.
have all the crazy natural disasters that we have if we're all in harmony, because then the atmosphere of the earth actually changes. With every human that shifts to their true natural light being self, we become in harmony with Mother Earth.
Absolutely. This is so good. Oh my gosh. We're taking it from myth to reality. So again, how do you become a light being? What is a light being? What is the correct actions for a light being? And the more you practice this, it won't be a practice no more. It will become your natural state. This is all we're talking about. And life will become different. You'll cross over. You'll be living, as we say, as a spirit, as a light being. You'll be amongst the people, but your needs will be different because you have a different need that's coming to you that's being replaced by total delight. Everybody else's needs, I'm just saying, is still on the world on what they need that's going to make them happy, and it will never happen. But your needs will change and it will be fulfilled because that's just how it works. Oh
Exactly.
my gosh.
And the less food you need, the more unlimited, or I should say, yeah, the more unlimited you are, right? Because the whole idea of I need food, I have to stock up on food in case of emergency. If I go on a trip, I need to make sure my cooler is full of food or whatever it is. You always have to have the food around you, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
right there saying I am limited. I'm not limitless. So as you start letting go of the food, you realize that there's nothing that you need. Food is the last thing that you think you need, right? You let that go, and what do you need? You don't need anything. You are
You don't need anything.
everything.
You're everything. You start finding out more and more how you are. Now, this is the good thing about it too. Now, there's a thing called body shaming. and this usually happens, you know, with people who are real overweight and people talking about them, la, 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 la. Now there's a thing taking place, and I brought this up. I was with a yoga group. I said, I'm being body shamed now. Now, there was a time people used to talk about my body when I was losing weight and la, 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 la. But now I'm looking good and I know it, you know, because I'm maintaining that weight. So now people saying, well, I can't believe, la, 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 la. And the thing about it, I can't even believe it. You're so much with the light. You are going to be healthy. I can't believe it. This is so good about it. Oh my gosh. You are observing your own work, your own miracle, and this is why you stay on this path. There's nothing will get you out of it. Once you're on this path, you start seeing how your body's regenerating, how your mind and energy you have. There's no way in the world I want to go back to that last life I was living. This is what we mean by, I'm going to bring it up, a reincarnation. Those other lives was my last life. I'm in another life now.
Absolutely. I love it. I love the potential. I just love this lifestyle and how beautiful it is and how it brings so much awareness, and you can just push through these blocks so quickly and easily because it just comes right up for you. And you do. It's a constantly, your mind is being blown, you know, whether by something you're able to accomplish and achieve or just different realizations, because you do become more intuitive on this path, by the way. You know, Elitom started off before we started recording, what are we going to call this talk? What direction are we going to move in? And we thought, well, maybe we can talk about how to eat or not eat to increase your psychic ability.
Right.
You know, because that's also part of this, is you become more connected to that higher consciousness. You know things, and that will blow your mind. Totally. So you will have miracles physically with your body and with your higher state of being. And it's all about, like you said, just delight, just pure bliss. It's so nice. Love it.
Pure bliss. It don't end. Like we said, it only ends when you want it. And that's all you got to keep catching, that attachment, and let it go.
Yeah. So anytime,
just keep on, and the light is unlimited. Matter of fact, we're just scratching the surface.
Oh yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just affirming everything you're saying.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
We're scratching the surface.
Oh man, this is good.
Like every day I'm blown away. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It just gets
man, this is awesome. And we hope, and like we said, well, it ain't about hope. This movement is growing. Like I'm meeting people here in India, this is their first time hearing about it. And I'll tell them boldly, this won't be your last. This is what age we are in. And like I said earlier, it's not me, it's not, you know, la, la, la. The light itself is orchestrating all of this. I was just talking to my son, and I used to tell him about the predetermination, and he's seeing how far we did came. And he's like, wow, this is really something on how everything's unfolding. And it's going to keep on unfolding. This is where we are as humanity. So it's just not an individual thing. It is taking place where all of us collectively. That's why you're attracted to this channel.
Right. That's why you're watching right now. You know, I was thinking today, as each person kind of becomes more light, as each person eats lighter, as each person heals on every level, it actually changes the frequency of the people next to them and of the whole world, because we're all one being, right? So as you heal, as you lighten, as you become connected to your cosmic energy, you actually change the frequency of the environment all over the world. You change the world, just you change the world. When you are out of balance, the world is out of balance. When you are in balance, the world is in balance. And I always look at things on a global scale, because I love Mother Earth, and I know part of my mission here is really to heal her, and that's why I shine the light that I do. So just know how important you are. This isn't just about you. This is about everybody. This is about the whole world.
This is powerful.
It's a calling.
Very, very powerful. It's a calling.
It's a mission. This
Absolutely.
is why we are here right now.
This is why we're here. So if you want to change the world, it ain't about jumping on the internet to try to find a new conspiracy theory or the negativity.
Right.
Just cultivate yourself and put out the positive frequency.
Yeah.
It actually works.
Absolutely.
Oh man.
Oh, what a great fun talk. Yay.
Love.
Oh, so excited. Oh, I love light beingness.
Every round gets higher and higher. I love it.
It does.
Oh man.
Yes.
Keep up the good work and keep moving ahead.
Absolutely.
And just keep healing yourself and just keep going into your light beingness, your homo illuminous.
That's right. You are a luminous, beautiful, amazing being. So own it, believe it, and become it.
Oh man, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, light being Shana Dean.
Yeah, thank you so much, Elitom, El-Amin, light being. We both have names that rhyme with light being.
Absolutely.
Of course.
We're the dream team.
The dream team. Love
The
it.
dream team light beings.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We love you. And if you love what you've seen, click the like button, subscribe, share the channel, share the love, and have a beautiful day.
Voila.
Bye-bye.